welcoming one of the organizers for the night up here, Mr. Matt Talbot for a comedy show. After that, we have a special surprise, and I'm going to need any of the young children or some of the young at heart for a game that we'll do on stage.
Oh no. No.
Give it up for Matt!
I think the only way I count as young adult is if I organize the thing, they let me do it. Because I am old, and I think they said that Myrtle Beach, I read the other day, is the fastest growing retirement community in America, right? And I know this to be true because they moved this up an hour from last year, right? We're too old, we can't get there by 8:15, we gotta move it up an hour, okay? We gotta have the early bird special of meetings. And I think next year it'll be 6:15, we're at 5:15, and pretty soon it'll be back to 8:15. It'll just work its way through the calendar, and we're back at 8:15. So I appreciate that. But I know that I'm old because I went to the lagoon cabin the other day, and I turned my phone off. I didn't turn it off, let's be clear. I just put it on vibrate. I think that was sufficient. But the problem is, I have the classic millennial skinny jeans, right? And so what that meant was that every time someone texted me or sent me a DM on this thing or that thing, it vibrated loudly, right? And this seemed to be annoying this woman in front of me, probably justifiably so. Because she kept giving me sort of the half turn, They get people at movie theaters when they're talking during the movie. And I just regret that I wasn't like a Gen Z person, because then we'd have the more flared jeans, right? You know what I'm talking about, Shree? Skinny jeans are out. I put her on the spot, Gen Z very happy, that's fine. But the concern that I have is that we don't have enough Gen Z people that are coming to Baba, and I figured out the best way. The easiest way is to make Baba fun, right? That's how I came to Baba. It seemed very fun. I thought, what are the fun things that Baba has? He has a lot of fun planes. What do you think the most fun planes that Baba has are? Right? Of course they're 6, 7. If you didn't get that joke, you don't have like a middle schooler right now. Okay? But the 6 and 7 plane, you're gonna get the Gen Z. No, I'm a mess in the lagoon cabin. I'm a mess. I try to do the prayers, I end up screwing them all up. I'll be like, oh, Parvardigar, I repent most specially. Baba's Daman. I'm just doing like all 3 at the same time. I know what I'm doing in there. I'm not giving 110%. It's definitely a problem. My wife, Elizabeth, she's commented on this, but she's become a bit of a Baba purist. She just spent 10 days in India. Yeah, I have that effect on people when I do my comedy. That's pretty standard. They start crying. That's probably why my wife just spent 10 days in India without me. But anyways, I'm just joking. And if you go to India, and you go to the Samadhi, what ends up happening is that they're one person at a time goes into the Samadhi, right? One person at a time. You go to Baba's room, there's like 40 people in there. All right? You don't get the platinum status experience that you should be getting. All right? I went in there the other day, and on Sunday, the entire bed, I'm like, I'll just bow my head down at Baba's bed. It'll be fine. It'll be totally easy, right? I get there early. Packed. There's barely a square for me to fit in, right? And there was someone, I'm not going to say their name, I'll just call them J. Rafa. No, that's too easy. Jordan R., that's fine. We don't have to talk about who it is. He was totally elbows out. He was man-spreading at Baba's bed. You can't go elbows out. You gotta be elbows in, right? Otherwise, he's taking up like, I love you, Jordan. He's taking up, I asked him to do something for me tonight, and then I was making fun of him. But his brother's not here to like, his younger brother's not here to protect him anymore. And so he was taking up like 70% of the bed. So I'm like, all right, I will wait. I can squeeze on the end. So I start to walk around quietly with my phone on vibrate, not off, around Baba's bed. And some woman comes over. And I'm like, all right, I'll let her go by. She just slides right in. She stole the spot. That was my spot. Right, Jordan?
I saw it all.
He saw it all.
Can't confirm.
He was right there. So now I'm standing awkwardly just in the middle of Baba's room, waiting for this woman to finish, darshan. The good news is that when you go down to take darshan, you're really in a vulnerable physical position, right? It'd be very easy for me just to kick, because it's just their heads down. She was not, when you do taekwondo, this is like the worst possible position. When you do any martial art, karate, they say do not just go head down. But what they have in India, and I wouldn't know this too much because I haven't been there since 2007, 2008 time period, but what I'm told is they have a samadhi attendant, right? And the samadhi attendant is there to make sure you don't take too long in the samadhi, right? And if they take too long, they go, Jai Baba, right? And it doesn't mean like Jai Baba. It means get out. This is not a question and answer. Josh, this isn't a question and answer. We can talk later. It means get out. So then if you don't get out, they're like, Jai Baba. It's like an increasingly angrier Jai Baba. Me being me, I would just look up and be like, Jai Baba, and just get right back. You gotta beat force with force, right? Violence with violence. So that, well, we need to, Buzz, we need to get VIP Baba room status, for frequent flyers. People who should be able to get in at special times, have some peanuts or something, enjoy themselves. Are people having a good Christmas season? Yeah. Yes, beautifully done tree. I remember last year, Peter Goodman and I were inexplicably tasked with putting the tree together and then fired after we finished it because two Jewish people putting a Christmas tree together is not. So I ruined Christmas last year, and honestly, I ruined it again this year. And I ruined it so much I would now be telling you the story of how I ruined it for comedic effect. But I ruined it because Elizabeth was going to India for 10 days. She was going to be there for Christmas. So she said, Matt, here are all the gifts. I'm putting them in the suitcase. Wrap them for Monty Ann, okay? She had these packed up gifts. Then she proceeded to put some of her own clothes in there. Clothes she wouldn't need for India because it's hot, but she would need for a cold weather climate. So a few nights before Christmas, I opened the suitcase, procrastinating, of course, to the end. And I'm like, all right, I got to wrap all these gifts. Not making a clear delineation between the gifts and my wife's actual clothes. But I just thought she had bought a pair of the exact same thing that she had for Monty Ann, since they have, roughly the same body type, it seems. And so I wrapped everything in there. And Monty, I slept at 12:30 at night. My wrapping was absolutely terrible. There are people in this room right now who have openly criticized my wrapping, and that's fine. You know who you are. I won't say my name. Jordan. No, this guy really hates me. No, and there were so many, it looked like Monty was having the greatest Christmas of all time. Because there were so many gifts under the tree, right? Unbelievable. And so we get up, it's Christmas morning, she opens the gifts. Keep in mind, I didn't celebrate Christmas until I met my wife when I was like 22 years old. So I'm not good at this, okay? They put the Jew in charge of Christmas. It's a bad idea. She tears open the first gift, and it's like a pair of pants for Elizabeth. And we sit there confused, like, is this the same pair of pants? There's no tag. What's going on? So we put it off to the side. She opens the next gift. A jacket. Just a jacket. Not a gift. Just put it on Elizabeth. Half of the gifts were not in any way a gift. They were just her clothes. And we couldn't communicate with her, with Elizabeth. So we had no idea what was happening for most of Christmas. And the worst part was somehow I missed a bunch of actual gifts for Monty that were there, and I didn't wrap those, and Shell got those on December 27th. So I'm 0 for 2 for Christmas these last 2 days. And honestly, what I'm really bad at is not just Christmas, it's also giving tours on the center, okay? Because earlier this year, I had some friends come to town from California, and they randomly happened to be in Myrtle Beach when I was here. I said, I'll give you a tour of the center. And I realized I know nothing about the center. I know absolutely nothing. They'd be like, what is this? I'd be like, it's a barn. They're like, what does it do? I don't know, it's a barn. Every question, I just answer with, it's a barn. And the worst part, we're at Baba's house. It wasn't even a barn. But I do think that my tour is very approachable. It's not too complicated. I'm not going to overwhelm people with dates and facts and information and things along those lines. But what I realized is that every cabin on this side of the lake has an extremely literal name, right? Like we're in the meeting place. It's a place for meeting, right? True, right? We have the original kitchen, which was the original one, not to be confused with the Lakeview kitchen, which is a view of the lake, right? We have the boathouse. And it's a house with boats at it. The rec room, where you go and have recreation. All of the ones on the other side are extremely conceptual, right? Like the twins, you don't see Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito there, right? And you don't get that joke, ask your parents, okay? They were alive in the 80s. And, right, like the guest house doesn't actually include all guests at that house, right? And I was like, why is this? And I realized why it is because at the Sahabas, these Sahabas, they put all the boys on this side of the lake and all the girls on that side of the lake. And if there's one thing I know about boys, we're idiots, okay? You need really literal names for them, right? Like, over there is the cabin, the greens. So when the boys are like, how do I get to the greens? You say, it's literally green. You can't miss it. It's right there. They painted it green because you're an idiot. All right? If they gave us a name like the Arlington or Bishop Ranch, boys wouldn't know where to go to meet. They'd just be wandering around all the time. Girls are smarter. They can figure this stuff out, right? What I'm focused on is I see that there's 2 new cabins being built. This is a great time for me to talk to Buzz and get this figured out. And put it on the spot. What do I need to do to get cabin sponsorship at the center? I don't know what the names you're considering, Laurel Oak 2 or something. What do we got to do to get Talbot Law Group cabins? Bruce Palm, so I got a grease. You know, I know your nickname is the Buzzsaw, because anytime anyone says anything, you go, no. How dare you? But I'm happy to do what I can, you know. Maybe I can do some current cabins, meeting place, sponsored by Talbot Law Group. You know, something like that, right? For the football, you go to the football stadium, it's always some corporate sponsorship. So we'll talk later. Don't worry, I'm almost done. Don't worry. We started at 10:15, so it's like we got time. I don't know if any of you know Tommy Brussman. Any Tommy Brussman fans here? Yes. He just got married. It was great. We're at the wedding, very beautiful. And his beautiful wife, Lindsay Birch, runs a theater group in Sacramento that Buck Busfield used to run. I don't know if anyone knows these people. Buck is great. We love Buck. And this was the first theater kid wedding I'd ever been to. I don't know if have you been to a theater kid wedding ever? No. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. You have to do it. Okay? Because most weddings, they do like karaoke. Everyone sucks. These are professional singers going out there, hitting like the Whitney Houston high notes on everything. At one point, half of them went out to do the Rent song. Literally half the wedding doing that. But the problem was, I couldn't do what I love to do in karaoke. Any karaoke fans here? Yes. But you know how frustrating it is? Because every time I go to karaoke, I pick my number 1 favorite song, and they never have it. I run up and I go, do you guys got the Gujarati Arty? I want to drop some Red Hot Fire with Sing Song of May. You know, they never had the Jamie Newell classics. I don't know why. Does anyone know? I can't figure it out. You know? So I have to do like secret Baba songs, like Let My Love Open the Door, Don't Worry Be Happy, Begin the Begin, and of course anything from 80s death metal band Megadeth, right? A lot of people are surprised by that, but Baba said that 2/3 of the world would die, so I assume that's Megadeth, right? He must have been a big fan of this one band. He later clarified that it meant it in his own words, so I assume that they'll change the name to Spiritual Megadeth, right? All right, I like that side of the room. No, and so, well, we got some Megadeth fans here, I guess, you know. Some Dave Mustaine super fans here. But anyways, before I finish up, I did want to tell you a situation I had recently that was very upsetting for me, very concerning. And I don't know if this ever happened to you, where they are going to schedule a duty and you can't go, right? And you're not able to go, and you want your friend to be able to throw the stick in. And so, in this instance, all right, I'll start that one over. Has this ever happened to you? We can edit that in post, right? We can edit that in post. Anyways, not really look forward to, which is why I am presenting to you right now a great opportunity for for the Doomy Power of Attorney, all right? And if I sell enough of these, maybe I can get that cabin sponsorship we've been talking about. I know you've been begging me, Buzz, to get that cabin sponsorship, or the opposite, one of the two, I can't remember. But a lot of people ask, how does a Doomy Power of Attorney work? And I will explain that for you, okay? So first you can work to draft one up and ensure that you have the appropriate notarization, okay, to ensure that you have the appropriate authority. Because the worst thing is when your power of attorney shows up to throw the stick in and they don't have the notarization, right? And they can't do it, all right? You don't want Peter Goodman stopping them from throwing the stick in after he's carefully reviewed the legal documentation, which we all know he would, all right? And when you're doing this, there's two key things that you need to think about, okay? One is execution. Is the person that you're selecting someone that you trust to appropriately and accurately throw the stick in, okay? You don't want someone to come in and you're like, hey, what happened? Oh, I tried to throw it in, but Robbie Zalewski came over, you know, she was playing a 2-3 defense with the safety coming down, intercepted the ball. You need a Tom Brady out there, okay? Who's going to be able, thank you for saluting me, who's going to be Josh, who's going to be able to get it in there. And the other thing that's important is ensuring that there's no dispute. Because you don't want to end up in a fight. You don't want to end up in Doomy Power of Attorney court, right? Nobody wants that, okay? Because the judge would be confused. They would say, why are you here? What is this case about? Throwing a stick into a fire? Normally people litigate over money. Why are you here? And of course you would say, well, these are Bible lovers. They don't have any money. Hey, thank you very much, guys.